Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place where we plunge into a whole stack of sources, really pull out those crucial nuggets of knowledge, those insights, just for you.
That's the goal.
And today, we're diving into something I think many of you listening will recognize pretty much firsthand.
Oh, yeah.
It's that journey, the one often painted as this winding path, maybe full of verb conjugations, those tricky prepositions, endless vocabulary lists.
Sounds familiar.
Exactly. The journey of learning a new language, and specifically we're talking about English today. If you've ever found yourself really diligently studying grammar rules, drilling pronunciation.
Oh, the drills.
Right, or painstakingly putting together word lists, well, it can feel like a purely academic thing, almost like a chore sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely can. A real grind.
But what if there's this whole other dimension to learning a language, something that, often gets overlooked, but it's profoundly impactful. It shapes not just what you learn, but really how effectively and maybe even more importantly, how enjoyably you learn it.
Okay, I'm listening.
That's what we're digging into today, this powerful concept of mindsets. The underlying attitudes, the beliefs, the perspectives that genuinely shape your whole approach to mastering English.
Mindsets. Yes. And this is, I think, where the real transformation can actually happen. Because look, grammar and vocabulary, they're absolutely essential. They're the building blocks, right?
I couldn't do it without them.
But the mindset you bring to the table, that determines how effective and, like you said, crucially, how much enjoyment you get out of that whole learning experience.
Right.
It's really the difference, isn't it, between feeling like you're constantly fighting this uphill battle, just frustrated.
Totally.
And turning it into a genuinely rewarding exploration where, every challenge actually becomes an opportunity.
That is such a perfect way to put it. An exploration, not just a struggle. So, okay, our mission for this deep dive today is pretty clear. We're going to extract these crucial, really actionable insights from, a potent set of sources. We're kind of calling it collectively the 10 mindsets for English language mastery.
The 10 mindsets. Got it.
Think of this as maybe your shortcut, a way to understand the very foundation of successful language learning. We want to uncover practical tools here, not just, abstract theories floating around.
Good. Practical is key.
Exactly. Tools you can actually integrate into your learning right away, things that will help you stay motivated when it gets tough.
Which it inevitably does.
Oh, absolutely. And help you overcome challenges you might have thought were insurmountable before. And ultimately, just make the absolute most of every single learning opportunity that comes your way.
That sounds incredibly valuable for anyone learning English.
So a really natural question pops up here, and it's one the source material actually anticipates.
Which is?
Why focus so much on mindsets? Isn't learning English just about, studying hard and practicing a lot?
Right. The brute force method.
Exactly. It's a valid question, isn't it? We've all been there, I think, believing that sheer willpower and just logging the hours are the only things that really matter.
Mm-hmm. And our sources tackled that exact question head on. They use this brilliant analogy, actually.
Like analogies. Lay it on me.
Okay, imagine your mindset is like the foundation of a house.
Okay, foundation.
Now, you could have the strongest, most beautiful walls, the most intricate design, the best materials. Those are like your grammar books, your vocab apps, your practice partners, all essential stuff.
The structure, the content.
Precisely. But if that foundation underneath it all isn't solid, if it's cracked, unstable, well, that house, no matter how impressive it looks on the outside, it just won't stand the test of time. It won't weather any storm.
Right. It crumbles.
Exactly. And it's the same with language learning.
Yeah.
Without the right mindset, that solid foundation, even the most cutting-edge study methods, the best resources, they might not lead to lasting success or real fluency. You could just be, building on quicksand.
Wow, that paints such a vivid picture. Building on quicksand, it really drives home that these aren't just fluffy, abstract ideas or sort of nice-to-haves.
Not at all.
They are actually incredibly practical, foundational tools, things that can genuinely unlock your full potential. And it doesn't matter if you're just taking your very first steps in English, or maybe you've been studying for years and you're looking for that next breakthrough.
It applies across the board.
Absolutely. So let's unpack this. Let's dive into these 10 essential mindsets. We'll explore not just what they are, but how they work and really why they're so powerful.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Okay, first up, let's talk about a concept that's gained, a lot of traction in education, psychology, and for really good reason. It's the growth mindset.
Ah, yes. Crucial. Absolutely critical for language learning.
So what is it, fundamentally?
Well, fundamentally, this mindset shifts your whole perspective. It moves you away from seeing ability as fixed, like you're born good or bad at something.
Right, that fixed mindset idea.
Exactly. And it moves you towards seeing potential as, well, almost limitless. A growth mindset is that deep-seated belief that your abilities, your intelligence, they aren't static things. They can be profoundly developed, expanded.
How?
Through consistent effort, through dedicated learning, and through sheer persistence.
Okay, so applied to English learning.
In the context of English learning, it means really understanding that fluency isn't some kind of innate talent you're either born with or not. Like having perfect musical pitch or something.
Right. Some people just get languages, others don't. That idea.
That's the fixed mindset talking. The growth mindset says, no, fluency is something you actively construct. You build it, like brick by brick, over time.
I like that. Building it.
And what's really fascinating here, scientifically speaking, is how perfectly this aligns with neuroplasticity.
The brain changing itself.
Precisely. The brain's incredible capacity to literally rewire itself. Every single time you grapple with a new grammar rule or you stumble over a pronunciation, your brain isn't failing you.
It feels like it sometimes.
I know, but it's actually working. It's actively forming and strengthening new neural connections. It's essentially building a more robust, more efficient language architecture in your head.
That's such a powerful way to think about it, that scientific backing makes a difference.
It does.
And why is this specific mindset so incredibly important, especially for language learners? Because, let's be honest, everyone hits those walls right.
Absolutely. Plateaus are normal.
Many learners get incredibly discouraged. You make mistakes. You struggle with some tricky grammar point. You just can't get a pronunciation right. And it feels like a huge failure.
Yeah, it can feel really personal, like proof you're not cut out for it.
Exactly. But with a growth mindset, you start to see those exact same challenges differently. They're not roadblocks showing your limitations anymore.
What are they then?
They become essential opportunities for improvement. Stepping stones, really, not stumbling blocks.
Okay. Opportunities.
And it's precisely that perspective that keeps you motivated, keeps you resilient when things inevitably get tough. It stops you from just throwing in the towel too early.
It keeps you in the game. So how do you actually cultivate this? How do you build that growth mindset?
Good question. The sources suggest a few key, very practical things.
Like what?
First, and maybe this is the most crucial one, embrace mistakes.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, definitely. But instead of fearing them or being embarrassed by them, try to view errors as just invaluable feedback.
Okay, feedback. How?
Like, if you mispronounce a word, it's not a sign you're bad at English. Think of it as a direct signal from your brain saying, hey, new neural pathways needed right here.
Like a little construction sign in your head.
Exactly. It's a chance to learn the correct pronunciation and really solidify it.
Okay, embrace mistakes. What else?
Second, celebrate progress. And this is important, no matter how seemingly small or insignificant it feels.
The small wins.
Yes. Did you learn 5 new words today? That's fantastic progress.
Yeah.
Did you understand a sentence in that movie you couldn't yesterday? Acknowledge it, celebrate it.
Why is that so important?
Because those small victories, they build momentum. They reinforce positive learning loops in your brain. They prove to you that you are moving forward.
Okay, got it. Embrace mistakes, celebrate progress. Anything else?
Third, stay deeply curious. Don't just memorize rules or words passively.
Be an active learner.
Right. Ask why. Why does this grammar rule work this way? How can I actually use this phrase in a real conversation, like in different situations?
Dig deeper.
Exactly. That deeper engagement, that questioning, it fuels real growth and much better retention. It makes the learning stick.
Embrace mistakes, celebrate progress, stay curious. Makes sense.
I really love that idea of embracing mistakes, and knowing about the neuroplasticity angle just makes it even more compelling, doesn't it?
It really does. It reframes failure completely.
Such a powerful reframe. So let's think about this for you listening right now. What stands out to you when you think about a time you made a mistake in English?
We've all been there.
Oh, for sure. Maybe you used the wrong verb tense in, like a really important job interview, or mispronounced a word so badly it completely changed the meaning of what you were trying to say.
Leading to that awkward silence.
Totally, that cringy moment. How did you feel right then? Probably embarrassed, right? Frustrated. Maybe even felt like giving up.
Yeah, those feelings are strong.
Okay, now imagine consciously reframing that exact experience, viewing it through this growth mindset lens we've been talking about. What specific, actionable lesson did you actually learn from that mistake that you wouldn't have learned otherwise.
What was the feedback?
Exactly. How could seeing it as a vital learning opportunity rather than just an embarrassing error fundamentally change your perspective on future mistakes? How could it turn that potential discouragement into like a real drive for improvement?
It shifts you from beating yourself up
Yes. From that unproductive self-criticism.
to constructive brain-building analysis, looking for the lesson.
Beautifully put. Brain-building analysis. Okay, building on that, embracing the learning process. Our second mindset is one that honestly can make the entire journey feel more like a joy, not just a chore. And that is
The curiosity mindset.
curiosity. Love this one. So what does that mean exactly in this context?
It's really about having a genuine, almost insatiable interest in exploring and understanding the English language.
Not just ticking boxes for a test. Not at all. It's about asking questions, actively seeking out new knowledge, and just being eager to learn because you want to. You're genuinely interested.
It transforms learning from feeling like an obligation
Right.
into more of an adventure, a discovery process.
Exactly. An adventure. And its importance here, well, it truly can't be overstated, can it?
I don't think so. Why is it so crucial?
Because curiosity just makes learning inherently enjoyable. It makes it engaging. It pushes you way beyond the confines of textbooks.
Into the real world.
Yes, into the vibrant, messy, real-world usage of the language. Think about idioms, slang, cultural references, regional
The
accents.
juicy bits.
Totally. The juicy, nuanced bits that make a language actually come alive, that give it its texture, its flavor.
And a curious mind just naturally gravitates towards those things, doesn't it?
It does. It uncovers layers of meaning that, just passive study would totally miss. It's what allows you to really connect with native speakers on a much deeper level beyond just basic transactional communication.
You start to understand the why behind the what. So how do we cultivate this? How do we become more curious learners?
Good question. The source advises a few things. First, explore media actively and widely.
Like what kind of media?
Watch English movies, listen to diverse podcasts like this one, read books, articles, even just scrolling through social media posts in English.
But not just passively consuming, right?
Exactly. Don't just let it wash over you. Pay close attention to how native speakers use the language. Notice their intonation, their rhythm, their pacing, even their nonverbal cues if you're watching something.
Be an observer, a language detective.
I love that. A language detective. Okay, second point. Ask questions relentlessly.
Don't just accept things.
Right. Why do certain phrases exist? What's the story behind them? How do accents differ across regions, and what influences those differences? What's the fascinating origin story behind a particular idiom? Don't be afraid to just wonder and then actively seek out the answers.
Like your inner 5-year-old out, keep asking why.
Totally. And third, experiment boldly.
Okay, what does that mean?
Actively try using those new words or phrases you've encountered. Use them in your own conversations, in your writing. Make them your own.
Even if it feels a bit awkward at first?
Especially if it feels awkward. That active application, that trying it out, is absolutely crucial for solidifying new knowledge and making it usable.
Explore media, ask questions, experiment boldly. Got it.
And that's where it gets really compelling, right? Integrating that curiosity with actually doing something.
Putting it into practice.
Yeah. Let's explore an idiom together, just as an example. Our sources often highlight the power of understanding where language comes from, its origins.
Okay. Which idiom?
Let's take break the ice, pretty common one.
Right. Means to start a conversation, make people feel comfortable.
Exactly. To initiate conversation in a social setting, especially where people are maybe a bit reserved or don't know each other. So what's fascinating here is thinking about why it's called that. How does exploring that origin deepen your understanding?
Break the ice. Like actual ice.
Yeah. Imagine a cold, silent room. Maybe people are standing apart, feeling a bit stiff or awkward. It's like there's this invisible icy barrier between them preventing interaction.
Okay, I could picture that. Uncomfortable.
So you need to do something to break through that silence, that stiffness. You need to initiate some warmth, some connection.
You break the ice to let the warmth in.
Exactly. Understanding that vivid visual metaphor makes the idiom stick so much more effectively than just trying to memorize its definition from a list, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It becomes memorable. A mini story like you said before.
Right. It transforms vocabulary into something engaging, something you can almost feel. That's curiosity in action.
Love it. Okay, what's the next mindset?
Our third essential mindset for mastery is open-mindedness. And this is just so crucial in our interconnected, globalized world.
Open-mindedness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How does that apply specifically to learning English?
Well, in this context, it's about having a sincere willingness to accept and even appreciate different perspectives, diverse cultures, and just the countless ways people speak English.
So, not judging.
Exactly. It's about being profoundly receptive to the incredible linguistic and cultural diversity that's embedded within the English language itself. Instead of expecting, one single monolithic correct standard.
Because there isn't one, really.
Not globally, no. This is so incredibly crucial because English isn't just one thing, strictly defined by, say, London or New York. It's a truly global language.
Spoken by billions.
Billions across continents,
Ugh.
with countless accents, regional dialects, unique slang terms, nuanced cultural ways of using it.
Incredibly diverse.
Hugely. So being open-minded isn't just like a polite social skill. It genuinely helps you understand and connect with people from vastly different backgrounds.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Recognizing that a lift in British English is an elevator in American English, or that egg day is a totally normal greeting in Australian English. Knowing these things prevents confusion, obviously, but it also builds bridges.
It shows respect for the variation.
Exactly. It's a huge part of truly effective, empathetic communication that goes way beyond just translating words. It cultivates a sense of connection, not confusion or judgment.
Okay, so how do we cultivate this? How do we become more open-minded linguistically?
The source suggests several practical steps. First, listen actively and broadly.
Meaning?
Pay close, focused attention to different accents and dialects. Don't just tune them out if they're unfamiliar. Consciously try comparing, say, American, British, and Australian English, or even regional variations within those countries.
Notice the differences.
Yes, you'll notice fascinating differences in pronunciation, rhythm, even vocabulary choices. And that really enriches your overall auditory comprehension. You get better at understanding everyone.
Okay, listen broadly. What's next?
Second, avoid hasty judgments. This is a big one.
Don't dismiss things just because they're different.
Precisely. Don't dismiss unfamiliar expressions or accents or even cultural customs tied to language just because they're different from what you're used to or maybe what you learned in your textbook.
What should you do instead?
Approach them with curiosity again. Try to understand their context, their cultural origins, their intended meaning. Assume positive intent.
Seek to understand, not to judge.
Okay.
And the third point.
Third, engage with diversity actively.
Get out there.
Basically, yes. Actively seek out opportunities to join multicultural groups, online forums, language exchange programs. Immerse yourself, even virtually, in environments where you'll naturally interact with people from varied cultural and linguistic backgrounds.
Push your comfort zone.
Exactly. It expands your comfort zone and makes you much more adaptable.
Listen broadly. Avoid judgments. Engage with diversity. That makes sense.
And this really brings up an important question, doesn't it? How does actively embracing all these linguistic variations actually enrich your overall communication? It's not just about understanding different words, is it?
No, it feels deeper than that.
Right. If you think about those American, British, Australian differences, again, like how schedule is pronounced, or boot versus trunk, or arvo for afternoon.
Yeah.
By actively listening and observing these, you're not just expanding your vocabulary or your pronunciation knowledge, you're building a deeper, more intuitive understanding of how language itself adapts, how it evolves, how it reflects culture.
You become more flexible.
Totally. You become more adaptable in your own listening. You're less likely to be caught off guard by something unfamiliar, and you get better at adjusting your own communication to be understood by a wider range of speakers.
So it's a skill that goes beyond just learning English words.
Absolutely. It extends to being a better global citizen, really. More understanding, more connected.
That's a powerful outcome.
Yeah.
Okay, what's mindset number 4?
Next up, we have a mindset that's just vital for any long-term project, really, but especially one with as many inevitable ups and downs as language learning. It's resilience.
Resilience. Bouncing back.
Exactly. It's simply that profound ability to bounce back from setbacks, to persevere, to keep going, despite the challenges, the frustrations, the perceived failures.
When you feel like quitting.
Right then. In language learning, it means staying motivated and committed even when progress feels incredibly slow, like you've hit that dreaded plateau.
We've all been there.
Or when a particular concept just seems impossible to grasp no matter how hard you try. Resilience is like your inner shock absorber, your bounce back mechanism.
And why is that so fundamentally important here?
Because, let's face it, learning a language is absolutely not a sprint.
Definitely a marathon.
It's a marathon, a long-distance race that requires sustained effort over time. There will be countless times when you feel stuck or overwhelmed or just like you're spinning your wheels, not making any real headway despite your best efforts.
It's easy to get discouraged then.
Very easy. Resilience is that inner strength, that mental fortitude that helps you push through those inevitable moments of doubt and difficulty. It's literally what stops you from giving up, from closing the book and saying, nah, this just isn't for me.
Without it, you burn out.
Exactly. Even the most passionate learners can eventually burn out without resilience.
Okay, so it's crucial. How do you build it? How do you cultivate this resilience? Turn those quitting points into breakthroughs?
Great question.
Yeah.
The source gives us 3 excellent, very actionable points on this. First, set realistic, SMART goals.
Smart, specific, measurable.
Achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Exactly. Don't aim for the moon right away. Don't try to learn 100 new words in a single day or expect native fluency in a month.
Break it down.
Yes. Break your learning into manageable steps. For example, maybe aim to really master the present perfect tense this week, or focus on having one successful 5-minute conversation in English by the end of the month.
Small, achievable victories.
Precisely. Those small wins build momentum, and they reinforce your belief in your own capacity to progress. It shows you can do it.
Okay, realistic goals. What's second?
Second, stay profoundly positive.
Focus on the good.
Kind of, instead of dwelling on everything you haven't mastered yet, which can be a very long list. Consciously focus on what you have achieved, no matter how small it seems. Celebrate every single incremental step forward. Keep a record, maybe.
Acknowledge the progress. Okay. And third,
seek genuine support. Don't try to do this entirely alone.
find your tribe.
Yeah. Connect with fellow learners who really understand your struggles and your triumphs because they're going through it too. Or lean on a teacher, a tutor, a language exchange partner, someone who can provide encouragement, constructive feedback, and guidance.
A support system.
Exactly. A supportive community can be your biggest asset in staying resilient. You don't have to tough it out in isolation.
Realistic goals, stay positive, seek support. That makes sense.
So thinking about this practically, what does this all mean for turning those frustrating moments into actual stepping stones? For actively building that resilience muscle?
How do you apply it?
Okay, I want you, listening now, to think about one specific challenge you're currently facing in learning English. Right now.
Could be anything. Pronunciation, grammar, speed.
Anything.
Yeah.
Maybe it's understanding fast native speakers. Maybe it's consistently using the correct articles a and the. Or perhaps it's just finding consistent time to study when life is so busy.
Okay, got a challenge in mind.
Now think about one small, realistic step you could take today to start addressing that specific challenge.
Just one small thing.
Yes, it doesn't have to be a giant leap, not an hour-long study session unless you can genuinely do that. It could be something really simple. Like committing to just 5 minutes of focused listening practice using a specific podcast episode, or reviewing one specific grammar rule for 10 minutes, or maybe just setting a reminder on your phone to practice 5 new vocabulary words during your coffee break.
Tiny steps.
Tiny, deliberate steps taken consistently. That's how you build the resilient muscle. It shows your brain, even when things feel overwhelming, that you can take action, you can move forward. It fosters that crucial sense of agency and control.
Turning frustration into action, one small step at a time. I like that.
Okay, moving on to our 5th mindset. This one really empowers you to become your own most insightful guide, your own best teacher, in a way. It's self-reflection.
Self-reflection, looking inwards.
Exactly. It's the deliberate practice of regularly assessing your own learning process.
How does that work?
It's about taking a step back, looking critically but kindly at what you're actually doing to learn. Identifying what's working really well for you, recognizing areas where you could significantly improve, and ultimately understanding your own unique learning style, your preferences, what makes you tick as a learner.
It's like metacognition, right? Thinking about your own thinking and learning.
Precisely. Metacognition in action. And this is absolutely vital. Why? Because it helps you take genuine ownership of your learning journey.
You're in the driver's seat.
Exactly. It empowers you to make highly informed decisions about how to proceed. What resources should you use? What strategies need adjusting? Are your current methods actually effective for reaching your specific goals?
Or you're just going through the motions.
Right. Self-reflection keeps you precisely aligned with your objectives. It ensures you're not just passively consuming information, but actively engaging with your progress, course-correcting when you need to, and truly optimizing your approach.
Without it, you might just be spinning your wheels, wasting time on stuff that doesn't work for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Could be treading water.
Okay, so how do you cultivate this? How do you make self-reflection a habit?
The source recommends a few practical, pretty easy to implement steps. First, maybe keep a learning journal.
Write stuff down.
Yeah. But don't just write about, today I studied English. Be specific about your learning process. What challenges did you face today? What successes did you celebrate? What new vocabulary or grammar point did you really struggle with? And crucially, maybe note how you felt during the learning process. Tired, energized, frustrated, curious.
Creates a record of your journey.
A tangible, personalized record, full of insights if you review it. Second, review your goals regularly.
Check in with yourself.
Yes. Are you still on track with the objectives you set? Maybe your goals have shifted. Do they need adjusting based on your progress, or maybe new insights you've had about what you enjoy or need?
Keep them relevant.
Okay.
Third,
Seek focused feedback. And don't be afraid to do this.
ask for help.
Ask for constructive criticism, yeah. From teachers, tutors, maybe even advanced peers or language partners you trust. But be specific. Don't just ask, how am I doing?
What should you ask?
Ask things like, what's one thing you think I'm doing well? And what's one specific area where I could improve most effectively right now?
Get targeted advice.
Exactly. Sometimes that outside perspective can illuminate blind spots you didn't even know you had.
Keep a journal, review goals, seek feedback. Very practical.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, self-reflection is really about becoming your own most insightful guide, isn't it? It's like creating this continuous feedback loop, learning directly from your own experience.
You become a more strategic learner.
Definitely. So take a moment right now, you listening. Reflect on your English learning journey so far. What's one specific thing you're genuinely proud of achieving?
Could be anything.
Anything. Maybe it's finally understanding a particular movie scene without needing the subtitles, or having that first successful, spontaneous conversation with a native speaker, or maybe just mastering a difficult pronunciation you'd struggled with for ages. Really feel that pride.
Acknowledge the win.
Yes. Now, alongside that, what's one specific thing you'd like to improve upon? Maybe it's expanding your active vocabulary in, say, business English, or speaking more fluently without so many pauses, or perhaps perfecting your academic writing skills.
Be honest about the growth areas.
Exactly. Acknowledging both your triumphs and your areas for growth is the absolutely indispensable first step toward intentional, truly effective, and most importantly, self-directed learning.
Knowing where you are and where you want to go. Okay, powerful stuff. What's mindset number 6?
Our sixth mindset often goes hand in hand with resilience, which we talked about, and it's arguably one of the most challenging ones in our fast-paced world today.
Oh, which one is that?
Patience.
Ah, patience. Yeah, that's a tough one for many people. What does it mean here?
It's simply that profound ability to accept delays, difficulties, or just slow progress
Right.
without becoming frustrated, agitated, or completely disheartened.
Writing out the slow period.
Exactly. It's rooted in the deep understanding that learning a language, like any truly meaningful and complex skill, really it just takes considerable time and consistent effort.
Fluency doesn't happen overnight.
Not at all. It's not a quick destination you just arrive at. It's much more like a gradual, often non-linear unfolding process. Patience is about respecting the natural rhythm of how our brains acquire complex skills.
Respecting the process. And why is that so critical?
Well, think about it. If you go into language learning expecting instant results or, rapid fluency in just a few weeks.
You're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Totally. You're inadvertently setting yourself up for frustration, disappointment, and ultimately burnout. Patience is what helps you stay committed for the long haul, for the entire journey.
It keeps you going.
It allows you to actually appreciate the process itself, to find some joy in the daily practice, rather than solely fixating on that distant, sometimes overwhelming goal of perfect fluency. It's really the antidote to discouragement when progress feels glacial, like you're moving at a snail's pace.
Which it sometimes does. Okay, so how do you cultivate patience? Especially if you're naturally impatient.
Good question. The source suggests a few things. First, set long-term goals and genuinely embrace gradual progress.
Shift your focus.
Yeah, instead of focusing only on immediate quick results, consciously shift your mindset to appreciating that small, consistent steps genuinely accumulate into profoundly significant gains over time. Trust the process. Recognize that your brain needs time to process, store, and then retrieve all this new information.
It's not a computer download.
Not at all. Second, related to what we said earlier, celebrate every single small win.
Again, with the small wins, they seem important.
They really are. Did you understand a complex piece of dialogue in a movie without subtitles, even if it was just a few key phrases? Did you successfully navigate ordering food or asking for directions? That is a huge win.
Don't dismiss them.
No. Acknowledge them, savor those moments. They are absolutely vital fuel for your motivation and your patience. And third, practice mindfulness and presence.
Mindfulness. How does that help with patience?
By helping you stay present in your learning. Try to truly enjoy the process itself, the active discovery, the little aha moments. Don't let your mind constantly race ahead to some imagined perfect future where you're fluent or dwell endlessly on past frustrations or mistakes.
Be here now with your learning.
Exactly. Mindfulness helps you appreciate the now of your learning journey, which naturally fosters patience.
Long-term goals, celebrate small wins, practice mindfulness. Interesting.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. How that calm, patient approach can actually sustain and even amplify your motivation over the long term. It's not just about gritting your teeth.
How so?
Well, the source suggests a powerful little mindfulness exercise, and I actually encourage you listening to try it with us right now, just for a moment.
Okay.
If you can, just close your eyes for a second. Take a deep, slow breath. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Okay. Now, gently bring to mind why. Why did you start learning English in the first place? What was that initial spark, that core reason?
The motivation.
Yeah, maybe it was for travel, a new job opportunity, connecting with friends or family who speak English, or maybe just for the sheer joy of understanding different cultures, reading books, watching films in their original language. Hold on to that why.
Got it.
Now, vividly imagine yourself fluent. What does that actually feel like in your body? What does it look like? What kinds of conversations are you having? Who are you talking to? Really try to step into that image, feel that feeling of confident communication.
Visualize the goal.
Exactly. This simple exercise, it grounds you deeply in your fundamental why. It reminds you of the future you're diligently working towards. And that reminder can foster that patient, unwavering resolve you need for the long journey ahead. It refills your patience tank.
Connecting back to the why, that's powerful.
Okay.
Mindset number 7.
Our 7th mindset is truly a cornerstone of effective, lasting learning in almost any field. It's consistency.
Consistency. Showing up regularly.
Precisely. It's that unwavering commitment to regular, ongoing practice and study. It's about seamlessly integrating English into your daily routine, making it a natural, habitual, almost automatic part of your life.
Not just something you do when you feel like it.
Exactly. Not an isolated, sporadic event you have to force yourself into each time. And what's really fascinating here is how directly this ties into the science of habit formation.
How our brains build habits.
Yeah. Our brains are basically wired for efficiency, right? They love patterns. And consistent exposure to English, even in small, regular bursts, signals to your neural pathways, hey, this stuff is important. Build stronger connections here. Make this easier to access.
So you're paving the neural pathways.
You got it. Think of it like the compound effect in finance.
Small investments adding up.
Exactly. Those small daily investments in your English learning, they stack up exponentially over time. They often far outperform those sporadic, intense cramming sessions.
Which we've all done before a test.
Right. But those cram sessions don't really build long-term retention or usable skill in the same way. Consistency does.
The steady drip fills the bucket. So why is it non-negotiable?
Because regular practice isn't just about repetition for the sake of it. It actively reinforces what you've learned. It helps your brain solidify new information, integrate it properly into your existing knowledge base, and crucially, strengthen the pathways so you can retrieve it when you need it, like in a conversation.
Makes it easier to recall.
Yes. Those sporadic study sessions, they're just significantly less effective. It really is like trying to fill a bucket with a leaky hose. You need that steady stream, that consistent input to make real lasting progress.
Without consistency, you forget things.
Pretty much. A lot of what you learn today might be gone by tomorrow or next week without that regular reinforcement.
Okay, point taken. Consistency is key. How do we cultivate it? Especially when life gets busy.
Great question. The source offers clear, actionable advice here too. First, create a realistic and protected schedule.
Put it in the calendar.
Yes. Dedicate specific, non-negotiable times each day or week, whatever works for your life, to study or practice English. And then treat these appointments with yourself as seriously as you would any other important commitment, like a meeting with your boss or a doctor's appointment. Protect that time.
Make it a priority. Okay. What else?
Second, leverage small moments. This is huge for busy people.
Finding pockets of time.
Exactly. Don't wait for those large, uninterrupted blocks of free time, because let's be honest, they're often pretty elusive, right?
Yeah, they rarely just appear.
So practice during your commute, listen to a podcast, review flashcards, use short breaks at work or school, while you're waiting in line, maybe even while you're doing chores like washing dishes, stick on an English radio station or podcast.
Micro-learning.
Exactly. Those micro sessions, maybe just 5 or 10 minutes each, they add up surprisingly fast. And they keep the language active and accessible in your mind throughout the day.
Okay, use small moments. And the third point.
Third, stay accountable. Find ways to make yourself accountable for your consistency.
Oh.
You could share your learning goals, like, I'm going to practice speaking for 15 minutes every day this week with a friend, a study partner, maybe your teacher. Or join a study group or an online challenge.
External accountability.
Yeah. Just having someone to check in with, or even just knowing someone else is expecting you to show up or is on a similar journey, can provide that crucial extra push you sometimes need to maintain regularity, especially on days when motivation is low.
Schedule it, use small moments, stay accountable. Solid advice.
And what's truly fascinating here, coming back to that compound effect idea, is how even seemingly tiny, consistent efforts compound over time into massive gains. It really is like daily savings in a bank account, building up interest.
The small steps lead to big results eventually.
Absolutely. So let's try to create a tiny daily study plan together right now, a micro habit for you listening. Think about one very specific, achievable thing you can commit to doing every single day to practice English.
Keep it small and doable.
Yes. It doesn't have to be an hour of intense grammar drills. It could be listening to just one English song on your way to work and really trying to catch 3 new words or phrases. Or reading just one article from an English news website for 5 minutes.
Or sending one text message in English.
Perfect. Sending one text in English to a language partner. Or simply spending 3 minutes before bed reviewing vocabulary flashcards on an app. The key is daily, consistent commitment.
Find your one small thing.
Find your one tiny, achievable thing you can commit to starting today. That action will start building your consistency muscle and kickstart your very own compound effect for English learning.
I like that challenge. Okay, what's mindset number 8?
Moving to our 8th mindset, which is so crucial in a world overflowing with different learning tools, apps, methods. It's adaptability.
Adaptability, being flexible.
Exactly. In the context of language learning, it's that profound ability to adjust your learning strategies, your methods, the resources you use, based on what truly works best for you as an individual learner.
Recognizing one size doesn't fit all.
Precisely. It's about being flexible, being open to change, and recognizing that not every method is going to yield the same results for every single learner, or even for every aspect of the language you're trying to master right now.
What works for grammar might not work for speaking.
Exactly. It's about intelligent iteration, continually tweaking your approach.
And why is this so important? Why not just stick to one method?
Because different aspects of language learning often require vastly different approaches. Like you said, what works brilliantly for building your vocabulary, maybe using flashcards or spaced repetition software, might be completely ineffective for improving your spontaneous speaking fluency.
Which might need more conversation practice.
Right. Or what helps you with reading comprehension, like extensive reading, might not do much for your listening comprehension, which needs dedicated listening practice. Being adaptable means you're not just stubbornly sticking to a single method that isn't actually serving you well.
You're not wasting your time.
Exactly. Instead, you're constantly evaluating, experimenting, and actively seeking out the most effective methods for your unique needs, your specific goals, maybe even your mood or energy level on a given day. It means you optimize your learning time and effort.
So how do you cultivate this? How do you become more adaptable?
The source suggests 3 key dynamic actions. First, experiment widely and without fear.
Try new things.
Yes. Try out various learning tools, flashcards, different language learning apps, dedicated conversation practice groups online or offline, maybe fully immersive media consumption, like watching movies first with subtitles, then without. Don't be afraid to step outside your usual comfort zone and just try something completely new.
See what clicks. Okay, second.
Second, Evaluate rigorously and honestly. This ties back to self-reflection.
Assess what's working.
Yes. Regularly assess what's truly working for you and what isn't delivering results. And be really honest with yourself about the effectiveness of your current strategies. For example, if you're spending an hour every day doing grammar exercises, but your actual speaking isn't getting any better.
Maybe those exercises aren't the right focus right now.
Exactly. It might be time to reevaluate and shift some of that time elsewhere. And third, related to that, be genuinely open to change.
Don't get stuck in a rut.
Right. If something isn't delivering the results you hoped for, or if you find something that seems more promising, don't hesitate to pivot. Switch strategies. It's not a sign of failure at all.
What is it then?
It's a sign of intelligent adjustment. It shows self-awareness. It allows you to continuously optimize your learning path for faster, more effective progress.
Experiment, evaluate, be open to change. A cycle of improvement.
Exactly. And this really raises an important question for you listening. Are you willing to pivot? Are you willing to change your approach when a strategy isn't delivering the results you need? Or maybe when you discover a new tool or technique that might be more effective?
Or are you stuck doing what you've always done?
Right. Think about a learning method you haven't actually tried yet. Something that feels maybe a little outside your current comfort zone.
Like what?
Maybe you've mainly stuck to textbooks and grammar exercises, but you haven't really explored dynamic language exchange apps like Tandem or HelloTalk, where you talk to real people. Or perhaps you focused intensely on solo study, but you haven't yet joined a conversation club or found a regular language partner to practice speaking with.
Identify something new to try.
Yeah. What's one new tool or technique you'd be willing to experiment with this week? Just to see how it feels, how it resonates with your learning style. It could be anything: trying out spaced repetition software for vocabulary, watching a short YouTube video in English without subtitles, trying to shadow the speaker.
Just experiment.
Just experiment. The point is to actively seek out new ways to learn and see how they might accelerate your progress. Be adaptable.
Okay, that's a good challenge. What's number 9?
Our 9th mindset is often the crucial bridge. The bridge between simply knowing a lot of English rules and vocabulary and truly using the language with fluency and ease in the real world.
What's the bridge?
Confidence.
Confidence. Believing in yourself.
Exactly. In this context, it's that robust belief in your own intrinsic ability to succeed, to communicate effectively in English, even with imperfections, especially with imperfections.
It's not about being perfect then.
Not at all. It's about overcoming that often paralyzing fear, the fear of making mistakes, the fear of being judged, and trusting yourself enough to actually express your thoughts, your opinions, your feelings, even when you know your vocabulary or grammar might not be flawless.
It's the courage to speak up, to try.
Yes, that's it perfectly, the courage to try. And its importance, well, it really cannot be overstated, can it?
Why is it so vital?
Because confidence isn't about perfection. It's about having the courage, the psychological safety to actually practice speaking and using the language in real situations. Even when you know you're not perfect, even when you might stumble or search for words.
It unlocks the doing part.
Exactly. It's what empowers you to take those necessary linguistic risks, to step outside your comfort zone, to initiate conversations instead of hiding in the corner. And ultimately, that real-world practice is what helps you grow exponentially faster.
Without confidence, the knowledge stays locked inside.
Precisely. All the vocabulary and grammar knowledge in the world might just remain locked inside your head if you don't have the confidence to use it. It prevents real-world application, which prevents true fluency. Confidence is the spark that ignites action.
Okay, so how do we build it? Especially if we feel shy or afraid of mistakes.
Good question. The source provides several actionable steps here. First, start incredibly small and with supportive audiences.
Low-stakes practice.
Yes, practice speaking with a supportive friend who won't judge you. Find a patient language partner online. Join a beginner's conversation group where everyone is in the same boat. Practice in environments where you feel safe and unjudged, where making mistakes is actually expected and encouraged as part of learning.
Build positive experiences first.
Exactly. Build a foundation of positive speaking experiences. Second, going back to this again, meticulously celebrate every success.
Acknowledge the wins again.
Yes. Acknowledge and really savor every piece of progress, no matter how tiny or seemingly insignificant it feels in the moment. Did you successfully order coffee in English? That's a win. Did you understand a joke someone told? Another win. Did you manage to ask for directions and understand the answer? Huge win.
Why focus so much on these small things?
Because these micro celebrations actively chip away at imposter syndrome. That pervasive feeling many learners have of being a fraud, of not really being good enough, despite evidence to the contrary. Celebrating wins builds genuine self-belief.
Okay. Start small, celebrate success. What's the third step?
Third, regularly visualize success. Use the power of your imagination.
How did that work?
Spend just a few quiet moments each day, maybe imagining yourself speaking English fluently and confidently in various situations that might currently feel intimidating. See yourself handling them well. Feel the confidence.
With mental rehearsal.
Exactly. This mental rehearsal can significantly boost your actual performance when the real situation arises, because you've already practiced it successfully in your mind. It prepares your brain for success.
Start small, celebrate success, visualize success. Interesting techniques.
So what does this all really mean for the undeniable power of internal belief in your language journey? And how can we actively cultivate that belief, especially when self-doubt creeps in?
How do we make ourselves believe it?
Well, the source suggests a powerful little confidence-building exercise, almost like an affirmation. And let's do it together right now. I want you to repeat after me, either out loud if you can, or just strongly in your head. And try to really feel the weight and truth of these words as you say them. Ready?
Ready?
Okay. I am capable of learning English.
I'm capable of learning English.
I improve every day.
I improve every day.
Good. Now let's say it again, maybe with even more conviction this time. I am capable of learning English.
I'm capable of learning English.
I improve every day.
I improve every day.
I improve every day. This isn't just, wishful thinking. It's rooted in principles of neurolinguistic programming. It's designed to help actively rewire your brain to believe in your own potential. It directly counters those nagging self-doubts and fears that can hold you back.
Building a positive internal dialogue.
Exactly. Building an internal dialogue that champions your efforts, acknowledges your capability, and focuses on progress.
That feels important.
Yeah.
Okay, we're up to number 10. What's the final mindset?
Finally, we arrive at our 10th mindset, and this is one that really transcends just language learning. It touches upon true human connection, understanding, and effective communication on a deeper level. It's empathy.
Empathy. Understanding others' feelings. How does that fit in?
Well, in the context of language learning and communication, empathy is that profound ability to understand and maybe even genuinely share the feelings, the perspectives, the experiences of others.
Who are the others?
Could be native speakers you're talking to, could be fellow learners who are also struggling, or maybe individuals from vastly different cultural backgrounds you're trying to communicate with. It's about genuinely trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes, sensing their viewpoint, maybe their challenges, their intentions, going beyond just the literal words they're using.
Reading between the lines, understanding the person.
Exactly. And why is this so incredibly important for communication?
I can see how it would help connection.
Definitely. Empathy helps you connect with others on a much deeper, more meaningful, and frankly, more effective level. When you take the time to understand the cultural context behind an expression someone uses, or the nuances of a gesture, or even just the challenges someone else is facing as they try to communicate in their second language,
Your conversations get better.
they become richer, absolutely. They're less prone to misunderstanding. They become far more meaningful. It also helps you appreciate the struggles and triumphs of others on their own language journey, which fosters a much more supportive, compassionate learning community for everyone.
It makes communication less about just transmitting information
Right.
and more about building genuine rapport, building relationships.
Beautifully said. Building rapport. So how do we cultivate this? How do we become more empathetic communicators and learners?
And what are the practical steps?
The source offers 3 powerful points here. First, listen actively and empathetically.
Not just waiting to talk.
No. Show genuine interest in others' experiences, their personal stories, their points of view, especially if they differ significantly from your own. Don't just wait for your turn to jump in. Truly try to absorb what they're saying and understand their perspective.
Seek first to understand.
Oh.
Okay. Second,
Second, be genuinely supportive of fellow learners.
pay it forward.
Kind of, yeah. Encourage them.
Yeah.
Share your own struggles and breakthroughs openly. Vulnerability builds connection. Offer a helping hand, a kind word, a useful resource when you can. Creating a supportive environment really benefits everyone involved. We all rise together.
Build community. Okay. And third,
Third, understand cultural context deeply. This is huge.
learn about the culture, not just the language.
Yes. As you learn the English language, make an intentional effort to also learn about the cultural backgrounds behind its common expressions, its social customs, its different communication styles, its norms for interaction.
Why is that so important?
Because it provides invaluable context. It helps you avoid potentially awkward or offensive misinterpretations. It helps you communicate much more appropriately and effectively within that cultural framework. For example, knowing that the level of directness considered polite or the norms around eye contact can vary hugely across cultures can drastically improve your cross-cultural interactions.
Avoid misunderstandings. Listen empathetically, be supportive, understand cultural context.
And if we really connect this to the bigger picture, empathy doesn't just aid your personal language learning by making your communication more effective. It fundamentally enriches your interactions. It truly makes you a better global communicator, doesn't it? A bridge builder between different worlds.
It goes beyond just language skills.
Absolutely. Think about a specific time when someone genuinely helped you learn English. Maybe a teacher patiently explained a really complex concept for the third time without getting frustrated. Or a friend very kindly corrected a mistake you kept making, but did it privately and supportively.
Or just a stranger who is patient.
Right, or a stranger in a shop who simply understood your broken English and responded with warmth and encouragement instead of impatience or annoyance. How did that act of empathy feel in that moment?
Probably really good. Encouraging.
Exactly. What tangible impact did their empathy have on your learning journey, on your confidence to keep trying? Now, flip it. Imagine yourself in the position to help someone else who is struggling with English. What specific words could you say? What actions could you take to offer that same understanding, that same support?
Be the person you needed then.
Perfectly put. Be the person you needed. It's a powerful, self-reinforcing cycle, isn't it? Empathy strengthens both the giver and the receiver. It fosters a more interconnected, more supportive, and ultimately more successful learning world for everyone.
A beautiful way to wrap up the 10 mindsets.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's just take a moment to really reinforce that core message we've been exploring.
The big takeaway.
Yeah. Learning English, or really any language, it's just not only about memorizing endless words and super complicated grammar rules. Of course, those elements are undeniably necessary. You need the building blocks.
Yeah, can't build without bricks.
Right. But the real secret? Maybe? The foundational strength that truly sustains your efforts, that propels you forward through the tough times, that comes from intentionally adopting and cultivating the right mindsets.
The attitude.
It's fundamentally about the attitudes, the beliefs, the perspectives you bring to your learning day in and day out.
Absolutely. From embracing that growth mindset, seeing every mistake not as failure, but as a vital opportunity for your brain to literally rewire itself.
Brain building.
Right. To staying genuinely curious about all the nuances and stories within the language. Being resilient when you face those inevitable challenges. Approaching every interaction with open-mindedness and, as we just discussed, empathy.
Yeah.
These attitudes, they really aren't just abstract, feel-good ideas. They are truly practical, transformative tools. They're designed to make your learning genuinely more effective, profoundly more enjoyable, and ultimately much more successful in the long run.
They're the foundation.
They're the foundation. They will guide you through every single step of your journey, ensuring you build that strong, lasting foundation you need for true English mastery.
Precisely. So as you continue on your own English learning journey after listening today, keep practicing with intention. Stay deeply motivated by remembering your why. And maybe most importantly, remember to truly savor and enjoy the process of discovery along the way.
Enjoy the journey.
Yes. And as you step back into your daily routine this week, maybe consider this provocative thought we want to leave you with. How might intentionally cultivating and consciously applying just one of these 10 mindsets, maybe pick the one that resonated most strongly with you today? How might focusing on just that one transform your daily practice this week?
Just one small shift.
Exactly. And then how could that seemingly small, deliberate shift potentially ripple out to significantly impact your overall fluency, your confidence, your enjoyment in ways you might not even anticipate right now?
Food for thought.
We'll leave you with that thought as you continue your own deep dive into English mastery.